Hey guys, welcome into episode 63 of Coffee and Shell. I'm your host, Sleeves, joined by Kesso and Padre. As always, we're going to talk about a bunch of stuff today, including the NHL 23 World Championship events. We're going to talk about the latest All-Star event in Hockey Ultimate Team, and we're going to go over the mandatory, three old men just complain about the game. So let's start first with how our weekends were. The people love to know about our riveting lives. Padre, what did you do this weekend?
Not a ton. Was
that Fillmore in the background?
That is Fillmore.
Get him some screen time. Hang on, the folks want to see Fillmore.
He walked away. Fillmore, come here. Fillmore,
get him over here. That's not a common dog you see normally.
They don't come. They're bad. So yeah, I played in the Stadium Series.
Yeah, you played the Stadium Series this weekend. Yeah,
I missed by like one win. We'll go into that. I guess we'll go into that whole thing. We'll go into it later. But
yeah,
gist of it is, I think I just crammed too many games in at once, and kind of like me and Kesso had that issue. I think it's our old school mentality of like you lose the $10 money game, then you want to get your money back and win the next one, and the next one, and I think I just fell into that habit, and it was just a long day. I played hockey that night. I just tried to cram too much in, I think, and it kind of cost me, and just all the manipulating of the leaderboards, whether it's win trading and discords and dodging and streams.
Did you go for dinner?
Oh yeah,
where'd you go for dinner?
Saturday we just went to like a local place with my mom because my dad went out of town to see my brother. We took her out to eat, and then nothing that I don't think it'd be any places anybody knows, but yeah, just some local stuff.
Kesso?
Nice. Yeah, dude, I had a rough one, as you guys know, as I've been tweeting about the Stadium Series. I'll get into those details a little bit more later, but
it's gonna be a dark episode.
It's gonna be a dark. Like, it was really dark. I've never been more down about the game ever in my future and whatever this space is. Like, it's so bad.
The game sucks.
Dude, you see it. You see that the likes just like in general. I'm like, yeah. No, but dude, Sunday was great. We took my daughter to her swim class, which is basically, you roll them around in the pool,
splashing around. Like,
yeah, dude, and it's fun. So like, I did the last one, and then my wife did this one. And then afterwards, we got some Chinese for lunch and took a nap. Did we take a nap yesterday? We might have taken a nap.
Like a whole team nap.
Yeah, dude.
That's got to feel good.
It's dude. Okay, this is kind of sentimental, but you're about to be a dad, so like,
yeah, I'm soaking this all in.
This past week, man, I was like laying down, and my wife brought her in, and I took a nap, but like I put my arm like over her, and like her little was like holding my finger.
Oh, that's it, bro.
Dude. It was the best nap of my life. Like, it was just so like fulfilling. And then the opposite end of the spectrum, you play NHL, and that's not fulfilling. But that was great. And then, dude, I've been loving The Last of Us. Like, loving it.
Oh, Padre, you don't like normal stuff, so like we can't really talk about it. But The Last of Us is so good, dude.
Oh.
All right. Let's get into what the people are here for. The biggies. Well, actually, no. We'll talk about the All-Star event first because everyone cares about Hut first. All right. So the All-Star event came in and is here. The MSPs. You probably both didn't even pay attention to them. But we got a few. I feel like the layout from the events. We're going through like it's 3 back-to-back events that are not the normal type of events. So what I mean by that is like we had Nations of Hockey. It was 4 weeks long. So like no matter what, that's gonna feel dragged out because they normally do it, multiple events over that time span. And even though the four week thing I didn't mind, it was just that they leaked the last ones accidentally in the first week. So like you already knew it was just long. And then you had Team of the Year, which is far different than every other event. And if you don't have the funds to actually partake in Team of the Year, that's an even longer event because it's just 2 weeks of you just not being able to have fun. In terms of like getting cards and things like that. And then this All-Star, I really thought it was going to be because the All-Star game actually takes place once this event ends, which I thought was a little weird, but I think might be decent because it'll end and then people can't make the cards like the divisions that win. Like, so I think that's kind of good. There's no manipulation there.
You can still like save the packs, right? Or their choice packs.
Oh yeah, that's true. I guess you could do that. So I guess there's really
I don't understand. But it's not that bad.
It's not that bad. No, I really thought they would do a rookie event. I'm waiting for that. I think that's the last event that I'm really, really hyped for because we're at some point you got to think we're gonna get Owen Power and Matty Beniers, even though we got an interesting Matty Beniers card this week. Which good for them for not shying away. At least they got him in the game because the alternative, they didn't have a headshot for him. But obviously he is an all-star, which is good for him as well.
I do want to say one thing about that though, because I know
Go ahead.
not everybody that listens to this is
Mhm.
like active on Twitter.
True,
EA
yeah.
Hawk did address this issue, and I pulled it up. He said to address the Beniers not having a headshot, this is an exception to our normal rule. Totally get why people are memeing it a bit, but realize you're making it infinitely harder to do things like that in the future. My personal opinion on these is that I'd rather have the ability to use players than have them held out because of headshots.
Yeah. What do you think on this, Padre? What do you think about this?
I like it. I don't really care about the headshots. Like, it doesn't do much for me.
Same.
And you could always just go back and add it later. We see all the time. You can change card art. MLB does it all the time. I know
Yeah.
that. There's nothing wrong with having it in there. I don't see a big deal when you have some of the best players in the world now that are all of our young players in the NHL are some of the best players in the league. You know what I mean? So I just feel like you have to reward those guys, especially. I mean, he made the All-Star team, like you said. So yeah, I really am happy they did that.
I agree. I think that it was okay. I don't want to see tons of it, but
No.
at least like you can use Matty Beniers like in game. I feel like if you're a Kraken fan, and you're trying to play some Hockey Ultimate, that's cool. At least in game, you can get to use them. When you look at your team, that's kind of annoying and dumb. But I mean, we have Jay Beagle for like the next 3 months.
The rookie event needs to be sooner.
I agree. Like
Like maybe like during November-ish. I mean, I understand the game now comes out in October. It's a little bit funky, I guess, in that aspect because it's I think we all. But I would love for it to be a little sooner. Just so
I think you also have to wait until like that 9-game thing too. Like depending on a lot of the times people are there, they get sent back or whatever.
Just had a random thought. What if they made the master sets like that? You had like the event art because again, at some point they're gonna get it. Like it has to be an event because if they're not going to get headshots, they're not going to go a full year of no Owen Power or no Matty Beniers, especially because he's going to win the Calder probably, right? So you can't have that. I'm 100% certain that at some point we will get master set card art, and the reason why that's going to happen is because you don't need a headshot for it. It's actually like artwork. So what if like next year you take the rookies, right? And instead of making an event and you have to time it perfectly, if you're not going to get a lot of cards, like let's say it's cards that don't have headshots, they'll know when they don't have headshots probably by August when the game ships, I would assume. Like because the teams have to send that to them. That's not on EA, by the way. That's the teams have to send it to them. And if they don't, they're probably once the season starts, they're probably not going to be like, oh, I better send EA this, headshot of whoever, right? They're probably not going to do that. What if they made them Hut Champs cards that you can make, and every month they just went at +1? You know what I mean? Like
that'd be fine too. And I also think like since it is artwork,
yeah.
Training camp, you kind of know who's going to make it or not, right? Like a lot of the times, I feel like I don't know when they start to make this artwork. I know some of it's like months in advance.
Yeah,
there's a lot of stuff you can get from that time period too to use as like artwork or like action shots from there. So like. You can also plan out and have like 20 to 30 that you're planning on, and then maybe you only use 10 of them.
Like if icons can go up, like right now Hut Champs, they're just random players that are very obscure that have headshots, right? But what if the Hut Champs cards kept going up as the year went along?
I've said that too with that one.
I really don't understand that part because they're so like maybe it's because they need people to spend the collectibles. Like maybe that's part of their economy in the background. Like if they don't have that, then people aren't spending collectibles, and then people have 1 million, and then like it is what it is. I'm not sure, but yeah, I would love to see, especially with rookies, because those are the ones of all the cards you want the rookies that don't have headshots or the potential to not have headshots be in the game the longest that you could upgrade, right? That's the thing, right? Because the event's going to come out, and in like a month, you can't use those cards, or it's going to be a very difficult kind of situation, right? So, I don't know. That was like a super off-topic thing. So the All-Star event comes out, and now we've got back-to-back-to-back not traditional normal events. And the way the All-Star event is, earlier, I remember back in NHL, I was still living at, I wasn't living at my new place, so I think it was NHL 20. And it might have been Nick's first year, Nicholas's first year, and that was when he started doing the stuff that happens in real life happens in the game. So I remember the skills competition, like Seth Jones won it, I think, the hardest slap shot, and this was huge because at the time, like getting a defenseman that had 99 slap shot power and accuracy when one-timers actually went in, which was crazy to think about, like that was actually a thing.
That's weird.
Yeah, it's super weird. But like that was huge, and I really liked that, but what the issue now is that like the only skills event that like matters is like I guess fastest skater. Like of all the other attributes to hit 99, do you care?
I don't because like I can think
don't.
back to like Pasternak won one of those or did something to where he had like the 99 shooting.
Yeah, like
And
shot
that was
accuracy and
cool.
power.
Yeah, but like in general, we already have cards like those junior cards and stuff that have like the 99 power and like high accuracy. I think the speed is. Now I don't know if like a defenseman would get 99 slap shot accuracy. Does that change the one timers? Probably not. Padre, do you think there's like any actual like dude? That's it. That's it.
No, because you and Dave Pence, Junior Pence, both you guys got Yossi, and you tried a bunch of 1Ts from the point, and you weren't scoring them. And if a few years ago, I remember, I think it was when it was in St. Louis, Shea Weber had it, and then the year before that, it was John Carlson. They both had 99-99. And I remember...
Am I misremembered? Did Seth Jones not win it one year?
It was Carlson.
It was out of left field.
It was Carlson. It was Carlson, Weber... I don't remember.
Oh, I was thinking that. Okay, now I remember doing a video being like, I think
so they had 99, and those actually did work back in the day. Like,
yeah,
the
it was huge. Like, it was a huge advantage to have that.
If you had a righty, you could bang them home. Like, where last year it was like only lefties.
Yeah.
And now I don't know. It's I don't even know. Like,
now it's nobody.
Now it's nobody.
Right.
But yeah, so like this event, and not to mention like something what they did with when you have an event that operates the same over the course of like a few years. You figure it out, and they have figured it out. That, but the unfortunate part is that they make everyone so low. So all the All-Star cards got 87 overall, and we have enough evidence now of the last like decade of this form. Or how many? 6?
Was it like 4 years?
I think it's 2016 was the first year since they did
first like 3v3.
3-on-3. Yeah, I think it was
been
2016.
that long.
Yeah, but
it was the John Scott year.
Yeah, but people think that. You know, like one of these guys could pop off for like 10 goals. They only play 2 games. So like and that's if they make it. Like if they win that first one, they can play 2 games maximum. So like I don't know, like a lot of these cards people might buy into it. I think a lot of people are savvy to know that like, hey, okay. And then the other thing that I guess is good, but also becoming a clear issue. I went through all the cards for a video, almost all of them had Unstoppable Force and Elite Edges or some sort of like mixture like that, and it's like, okay, we've had X Factors for like 2 years now, and we know, and so does the content team, and I actually don't hate that from the sense that makes these cards good, right? Like, it makes them interesting. If they had It's Tricky and, Spinorama, no one's going to use them, right? Like, they're not going to be used, which is an unfortunate part of the game because, like, it won't be used. So, there's a hit or miss there, but it's very clear that they're starting to figure it out, and I don't know how they fix that going forward to make other ones, better. But we're really at a spot now where it's like 5, maybe 6 are like useful, and the rest are like, nah.
Yeah. Yeah,
but,
no, I know.
Yeah, like the All-Star event, it's cool, but the Master Set players, I think there is a better card that you could acquire relatively easily at each of these positions. So like Johansson is just Jay Beagle. Right, and a lot of people have Jay Beagle, right?
Or even like that 91 Kopitar is like, I know he's left-handed.
Exactly, very, very
instead
close.
Instead of getting an MSP, just get that card.
I used Wayne Simmons, who I thought would be kind of cool. 6'2", a truculence.
Big tipper, right? Does he have that?
Yeah, big tipper and total eclipse. The problem with using a player that has big tipper and total eclipse and only having that player is it's very difficult to get that guy specifically in position to look at you and have a shot for the tip, right? So the only way to make it really effective is when you run a full line of it. And I've done it, and it's fun. But like to have it on one guy is like very tough, and he got knocked out the puck so easily. He's only 184. If you're under 200 pounds in this game, because everyone's got truculence now, it's like he played like Mitch Marner or Pedersen cards. Like he got knocked out the puck so easily, and it was unfortunate because like I thought he was actually pretty good at scoring. He had close quarters, and I was able to score a few goals in them, but I couldn't hold on to the puck at all, which was kind of disappointing. Johansson didn't lose the puck, but he didn't feel as good as Beagle. And then you had Lidstrom. Lidstrom's actually, I think, the best one out of the bunch. But given the way that Team of the Year just happened, like, you've got Yossi maybe, right? Like, if you just started the game, like, Lidstrom, I think, is the only one out of these that I would probably make. Maybe Johansson, but I think I would work toward Beagle first. But nonetheless, so the Master Set, we'll see what happens on week 2. I will say that I think the 87s that come up, people overlook them. You can build a whole team because they get so cheap, right? Like,
You think even for this event?
Yeah, like so for the All-Star event itself, right? Like a lot of these guys will not score a goal in game, right? In the All-Star game, they'll be stuck at 87. But because they gave them all Unstoppable Force and Elite Edges or something of that combo, right? a lot of players that just started playing Hockey Ultimate Team, once the All-Star event ends, like the second the game is done, all those cards that are started at 87 will plummet to what essentially is the lowest 87s go for, very close. And you can totally catch up and close that gap of like those God squads and you being at least able to compete, because a lot of them have good attributes and very, very good abilities to make up for that. So, but for me, like, it doesn't really do much because you're never going to have that one guy pop off for like 12 goals. Maybe Tage Thompson.
And I'm always surprised it doesn't happen because like people don't care about the All-Star game, right? Like the players don't care.
The players don't.
So like I'm surprised that doesn't happen, like because defense really isn't played. But somebody gets 3 goals over the course of 2 games?
It's only 2, yeah, because it's two games, essentially maximum, 2 10-minute periods, and most of the time they're just trying to set up their buddy, like set up other people, right? So like you'd think you fall. Usually there's one card that pops off and goes to like 93, 94. But even
and
that,
it's always
like,
a random card.
Yeah, like I remember Giroux last year, I think.
Yeah.
2 years ago.
Yeah, it was him last year,
random.
I think.
Yeah, very, very random, very hard to predict. But I do like the inclusion of it. Like I do like the fact that that whoever wins the skills competition, it's becomes super evident this year because of X factors. Attributes just don't mean anything. Because I'll take Tage Thompson's 85 overall with Unstoppable Force. I will take that over the majority of 90 overall cards. Like, agree? Like you just
I still use them.
Exactly. Like its abilities are now superseding attributes, and maybe it'll force them to make some changes. But I mean, come on. All right, let's talk about let's talk about the NHL 23 World Championship that just concluded the All-Star qualifiers. Last week we talked about the. Did we talk about the 4 winners?
We did talk about the 4 winners, yeah, because we talked about Pest or whatever his name is.
Yes, Prestera. So we've got news on that. We can break that down. So I've been helping kind of be the liaison between kind of the coordinator of the event and just the community because I talked to all these guys and a lot of them hop into my stream and man, yeah. So Prestera and Bluin both can't play, so it went to the second place guys, which is Gren and Uninstall. So now the tournament, the 4 people going, it is actually going to be like super competitive. Like winning this one is going to be awfully difficult because the only like person that like is not there that you would expect is Regs. But they're still using their hut teams, so like he would still be at a pretty big disadvantage to some of these guys, I think. So, Gren, Uninstalled, Duncan Deli, and Polks. Yeah, so like that's gonna be really fun to watch. I'm super excited. I just got my contract, so I will officially be the voice of the NHL 23 World Championship. I'm really excited to do that again. I'm really excited to go to my first All-Star game. So I fly there next Wednesday and do the event. I get to take in the skills competition, the All-Star game there till Sunday. Really excited to vlog it and have some fun down there. But yeah, I'm excited to see how that shakes out because that really kind of sets the tone for the rest of the event. But we had Stadium Series this weekend, which operated the same kind of way. Let's talk about your experiences. We'll start with you, Kesso. And then we'll go to Padre because Padre had a rough one too. But tell me how your Stadium Series qualifier went.
Man, it started great. I was like 7 or 8-0, and then
Deja vu.
Yeah, it was probably the worst weekend I've ever had in NHL. Like as like a consumer, it decides the game decides. I'm searching for a game, and I have my ping set at 40 max, and apparently that doesn't work in NHL 23 because it throws me on 80 ping west against Own the Blue. And if people weren't aware, he's probably one of the best players in the league. He was C16. He couldn't compete last year.
You're gonna see him in Tampa.
Yeah, he's really good, right? So I lose that game or whatever. Throws me on Gren's server my first game the next day. I lose. I don't know what's going on. I don't know why I don't get these games on my server ever. And it's just always on somebody else's. And then after that, it was just like a spiral of bad bounces, NHL 23 gameplay at its finest. So like at one point, I think I was 13-5. And I was like, I don't enjoy this. I'm not going to finish these games. I think if I won out, I could have made it. So like at that point, I was like, I hate this game. Playing it competitively. I still enjoy playing the game for fun on stream. And I'm not going to sign up for any team tournaments. I might do the open qualifier. I might. Just because that's an easy one in like 2 months. But no, dude, it's just honestly... just life is like so busy right now, like I'm in my final semester for my MBA program. I have this like really intense capstone class that's taking up a lot of time. And then like at the end of a long day, like working, doing whatever class, like
Dude.
I don't want to hop on and try to be the best I can be at the game. You know, like it's annoying, and the game doesn't make sense, and I'm not going to try to make sense of it, right? Like I could still beat Aves like a lot of these people. It's driving me insane, and I'm not the only one that's experiencing this. Like I've reached out to other people too. Like I know Sap had some issues with the game. I was talking to Aves. I was talking to Grant. I'm assuming these people don't mind me saying this, but he's like, dude, I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, Gren's too good at the game. He's not going to quit. But like, you know, it drives you crazy to play this game at that level. It's not healthy.
100%, man. Like when you take away the predictability, so like this is for a very, very small portion of the player base, because I think that a lot of the people listening are not going to like what I'm about to say. But when you take away the predictability and the things that do or are supposed to work and things that aren't, and when you throw that in randomly, when you're playing a tournament to try and decide who the best player is, it really hammers down on that. It's more this year more than ever is just about surviving, which shouldn't be the case. I think that we're like we talk about this quite a bit. Like I think we're in a beginning of a cycle of gameplay changes, and I hope to God that by the end of 2 years the game is slightly better. But I don't have any faith in that anymore, and I don't know if it's just cynical because I played the game for too long. We play the game when you play NHL competitively, you are consuming it to a point that it was not intended. Like all sports games have probably a max shelf life of a couple 100 hours. And if you play any more than that, then you're looking for something that's not there, right? Like there's just not enough content, there's not enough stuff to do. And then at that point you're just kind of angry, because there's nothing to, and you're bored.
But it's weird because I've always enjoyed the process of it, right? Like even like, last year, the year before, whatever, like it's April or like May or something, and there's still tournaments going on. It's like I like competing against people, right? And like trying to beat whoever. This year it's like, dude, it just doesn't matter. Like it's just like a 50-50 game. Which pass is going to go off a goalie's skate? Are your button inputs going to work on PS5? Maybe not. Probably not.
No,
I do have a question for you guys, but I'm saving it for the gameplay sucks section that we have right below this.
Excellent. All right, Padre, same question. How was your Stadium Series?
Real quick though, I want to ask Kessa this. Don't you feel like you get on and you're older, like now, obviously, like I'm older than you, but we both have kids, and you don't have time to get in the lab. Like I know that's the new phrase.
Yeah.
You don't have time to get in the lab. You don't have time to grind money. Like just whatever. You don't have time to grind the game, period, right? You just get on, you play your games, and it's like, which makes you have to be that much more, I guess, perfect, right? Especially this game. Not only does the game is not, I don't think any of us like the game, right? Not only is the game like the way it is, but you're battling your opponent and you're battling the game. And that's what I hate about this game so much. So it's like, yeah, I feel like I'm out playing my opponent, but now I got to deal with like I scored 2 goals on myself this weekend and I didn't even do anything. Like the guy didn't shoot the puck. They just rolled in my net. And it's like, what am I supposed to do? I'm sitting there going back and watching the replay. I know, Sleeves, you're a big proponent of, like, watch the beginning of the play. Watch the beginning, and I get that stuff. And it's like, I'm watching, he comes in the zone. It's like, I haven't cut him off, and it just, like, rolls, and my goalie can't handle it. It's like, what am I supposed to do on that? And I've tried to be, more open-minded about that kind of stuff because, like, going back and watching from the beginning of the play and stuff, but I just don't even know what to do anymore. I feel like I was always a pretty good defender. I don't think anybody's good at defense in this game. That's another thing.
Yeah, no, because like the best defense is people that just sit in front, right? Like which we probably all do, but even then, to an extent, you're gonna have those games where you give up 5 or 6 goals because like just the bounces
pass will go through.
You.
Like when you're trying to defend the backdoor play,
like that clip you had, yeah.
I don't know.
That clip I had, bro. That shot that my opponent was able to get off the stick is. I feel like stick and physics is gone. They implemented it last year, and they removed it. And maybe I'm wrong, and I can't ask a developer to find out if that's the case or not. But it like last year when they talked about stick and physics, when Ben announced like that was going to be in the game, I actually thought that was going to be one of the hugest things ever added to NHL, like since the defensive skill stick stuff like that. Because when there was no more stick goes into the boards. Stick goes through shins and nothing happens. But what really happens in the background is the game will stop puck pickups for a brief moment to make up for the fact that the stick went through the actual outside of the play area, which is not common knowledge. You don't understand that. So like, or see that. So, you know, a stick goes into the boards and you're like, why isn't my player picking this up? It's because there's a penalty that you're receiving that you don't realize because that stick is actually supposed to not be in that position because it went through the boards, right? Last year, like it would bounce off stuff. Like your stick was its own layer. That's what stick and physics was. When your stick went through things, that was when your stick and your body was all one layer. And when they went to two separate ones, that was a huge thing. And it didn't work very well. You got the wacky inflatable, you know, 2-men sequence where like their stick would be caught on stuff, but it was implemented and it looked like it was going to be part of something. Now, man, dude, that shot that kid had on me in that clip, Matt Sundin goes and takes a shot after just an insane non-pass intercept, and his stick is a foot above the puck, and he shoots it.
They advertised the intercepts in the gameplay trailer, though.
It's wild. I feel like I'm not like, again, the pressure that the developers of not just EA NHL, but the gaming industry right now, especially in a yearly sports game, to get stuff in the game so that they can put it on the back of the box to sell is gnarly. And I think that they were just listing off things, and like a lot of it doesn't make any sense, and we're not getting yet any updates, and we are legitimately beta testing 24. And I have no faith that 24 is going to be a great game anymore. I really thought it would. I really thought that the year after cross console would be the best NHL we've ever gotten, and I truthfully don't believe that anymore because at least last year, I hated the gameplay. I thought that there was no time and space. I thought that there was very little creativity, and it felt kind of clunky. But it worked. Like, there was very little... Your goalie... Man, you come in front of your goalie. How many times do you see your goalie go stand up, pad stack against the post? Like...
Dude, they do. Dude. The goalie mocap was done by Billy Smith in the 80s. That's what they play like.
Yes. But like it's wild and it's so clearly broken, and it's disheartening to think that they just said, yeah, let's ship this, as opposed to just not putting whatever their idea for goaltending was into the game, right? Like if you had goaltending from NHL 22, one-timers would be a thing and all of that, but wraps probably aren't. And, you know, maybe we have the same kind of meta that we've had for the last 15 years. But at least it's better than one. Like, how many times have someone passed it into your net on a rush?
Fine.
Because
player that was the game, dude. That was the game that broke me. Yeah. 2-2 game, 30 seconds left. This guy, 2-2 game. He didn't have a real goal, by the way. Should have been 2-0. 30 seconds left. He has a rush. I keep him to the outside. He passes it from the corner and just goes in off the goalie.
Because he's just standing there. He doesn't go down.
Why does that happen? Why? How is that released, man? Padre, how were your games though?
Yeah, I'm skipping that.
Real quick too, before I keep like procrastinating, but it's my buddy that's playing. You guys know who he is. I mean, you guys probably guess who I'm talking about, but he doesn't play the game much anymore, and he's very critical of Hut, and he makes fun of Hut a lot. But sitting behind the net, he's like, I'm watching a hockey game, and all you guys do is just sit there. He's like, how is this like? What am I watching anymore? He's like, every stream I go on, all I see is behind the net. Like, and Malcheski's obviously the king of it. He gets 36 minutes time on attack in the game. I mean...
Did you see that? Dude, one Champs game, he had 36 minutes time on attack.
It's nuts. And it's like, how do the developers, you know, whoever's left of watching streams or watching the people on Twitter or whatever the case is, you know, I know Ben was very active. How do you, like, not see what's going on and be like what? This is not hockey. Like
maybe they're being told not to do any. Like
I guess
they're focusing on 24. I don't know.
Yeah, like my honest take on it is this is the least interaction that we've had from a game. Like I'll be honest with you guys, you have as much communication right now as like Game Changers do, and maybe that's a good thing. Maybe we had too much prior. Okay, maybe we had too much prior, and maybe that influenced things that they wanted to do, and maybe they have a plan. All right, but like. If 24 does not fix a substantial number of these issues, like I don't understand. Like I don't know what, you know, I am going to go into a meeting, I'm sure, at some point in the summertime, and I'm going to show them a game of what Malcheski's doing. And that's an awful way to play, but it's in the game. He's not going against any rules. It is literally just in the game. It is not enjoyable other than the fact that you get enjoyment from winning. and he's a massive troll, and like that's where he gets his jollies, which is fine. Sure, that's okay. But the rest of the player base, because that's an option for everyone, but not everyone plays like that because it is very boring. Like it's very one dimensional. There's no real skill involved in it. It's just patience. And if I'm going to show them that, and I just want them to tell me what are we doing here? This is in the realm. I saw Mivians do it. I'm stunned that I haven't seen more, because Mivs did it against Prestera, and Mivs was like one of them. He was so, I remember watching him play, or whenever I'd play against him, he's so aggressive with the puck, and he was just constantly, like, he would always be someone that when you play have like 30 shots on goal, and he got behind that net and he didn't really move. And more, I think, as you see as the tournament goes along, that kids want to win, right? And I get that, right? But from a viewing experience, your game is on its highest level in competition, and you're going to see kids that just sit and we were saying, they're licking the glass. That's why the glass lickers, because they're just right up against those boards. So it's unfortunate to watch because it's not fun, and I really don't know what's gonna happen, because next year, like, it cannot be a thing.
No,
and I don't know why. I don't know why they will not take developers off of 24 to fix this issue for 23. That is unless they just simply can't, because the choice I can understand they have a very limited time to make a new game, and maybe they're going all in on 24, and their philosophy this year was, we have a year, we are never going to get ahead or get caught up or get to a point where we are satisfied, so we need to burn a game. And like, that is what this feels like. It feels like they are burning a year, other than the content team, and they are saying, okay, if there's issues in 23, that's going to have to worry, they're going to have to deal with it, because we are trying to work on 24 and not we can't keep going back and forth. Because I know, speaking with a developer a couple years ago, this was one of the issues that people don't realize. So I'm going to use Be A Pro for an example. Be A Pro, when it got its big overhaul, right? They don't make any changes to it for a couple years because they can't, they get their one big thing, that's the back of the box thing, and then they leave the modes alone. And that happens in a lot of sports games. I mean, MLB is famous for it now. Franchise mode, they talk about all these improvements. They were not going to do anything for franchise mode in MLB. At least I don't see them doing it. But like, you get to these points where, like, okay, something's broken in Be A Pro, a dialogue. Let's say this guy says he wants to go out for a hot dog, but instead, it's offering him beer. Like, something dumb, and it's meme worthy, and it looks bad and all that. They send a clip in. Okay, EA has to take a developer off of working on gameplay and go and fix this random thing in Be A Pro, which is one dialogue that really does, the ROI and the amount of people in the community that actually experience that is very low, but that's a broken thing. They would take a developer off of working on 24 to go and work on that. And I think we can all agree that there's probably a lot of things that they went back and fixed in the current game that we would be happier if they went and fixed a new one. We shouldn't have to. We should not have to deal with that. But I'm saying, if we had to choose, if we literally had to choose between, hey, let's make the next game a little bit better, as opposed to, this, I don't know, a random bug in HUT that isn't game breaking, but I don't know, man, because if 24 is not a hit, and what's a hit? Like, let me ask you guys, we've been playing the game for 20 plus years. You guys have been competitive at it. I never got super competitive. I think I've only once finished in top 100 on the leaderboards. And what would constitute as a banger game now? Like, I don't even know what that would look like.
No, I don't know. Like, I know the years that were hits. Like, I remember that. Like, I think there were games that had very solid gameplay.
What's in common with them?
I think whenever I think of, like, and you guys can help me, fill in. I think I speak for a lot of people when I say, like, 19 and 20. Maybe I don't. I thought 19 and 20 were very solid games. There was offense, there was defense if you were good at it. There were multiple ways to score. And I think it made sense, right? I think 18 was bad because, like, some things were overpowered.
18's historically bad because of the skating.
Yeah. Do you guys, like, I don't know, do you guys agree that 19 and 20 were very solid, like, hockey games for new gen hockey?
I think that, yeah, like, I remember, was 19 the half spin down the ice? Because that was my only complaint. That one year was hilarious to watch. Yeah. But other than that, I think it was okay. And I think 19 was, because that was the first year of CAD. And I remember Canadians was like this, like, phenom with like half spins and stuff. Like, it was just, and it was crazy to watch. But Yeah, like I think those were definitely solid games looking back. Like if you were to take 22, I hated 22, but I would take 22 over 23 because 23 is not a finished product, like an actual finished game that costs $100.
I don't know,
But
Padre, you're always more critical than like him and I, like
yeah,
for sure. Like, I mean, were there any new gen games you thought that were like, I mean, like 15 to 22 that you thought were actually like solid?
I'll be honest. I'll take 15 to 22 over this any day.
Yeah.
15. You know what the best part about 15? I always say this. Everyone crapped in the game. I get it. It was a new.
I actually didn't mind it.
It was a new console. It was the best year ever for Hut in 1v1 because there was no club, so everybody was playing Hut. Every day there was wagers because they allowed wagers back then.
It would be pretty wild to see a game like that when it's all forced.
Yeah, Twitch was booming. I mean, it was awesome. Like it was every single day. Everybody was playing Hut. That's all you could do. And I'm not saying the gameplay was like awesome. It was like fun. Everything was like intense. And now it's just this year. I'll take 22, and like last year was my like worst year competitive wise, I guess you want to say, and I'll take that over this with a tuner. I like there's some things that need to be tuned on that game for sure last year, but at least there was something that was being done about the issues, and I just feel like there's so many glaring issues in this game, and nothing's being done about it. And I mean, this is like I said, this is the worst I've ever seen. And
if goaltending is not completely fixed.
Overhauled.
Yeah, like something had to be done with that. Like if goaltending is not then there is really no hope because
I'll fly out to Vancouver. I don't care. Give me
if 1v1, you don't really control your goalie. Like it's not a lot of the player base, like 95% of the players probably doesn't even know how to actually take control of their goalie, right? So if that isn't something that they can rely on that makes sense, like then we're just left with just like not fun stuff. And I hope to see some fix on that, but I think everyone thinks back to 14, right? And I think the reason why 14 is so loved is because of how many ways there was to play the game. They weren't all good. Everyone says that GM Connected was this great thing. It was not good. I had one very, very serious league that with about 16 people from Niagara. We would go out every Friday night, then like Sundays, hungover, we would just bang out a bunch of games, but like it would take like 2 weeks. It would take like 4 hours to simulate 2 weeks, and like half the time it would crash. Like it wasn't good, but it was something to do. Like it was, you could play EASHL, you could play Hut. Versus was still popping. Franchise mode, like all of that stuff was like in the game. And as we've gone further and further, they've removed stuff, and now we're left with like bare bones. And I think that's the big issue. Like the thing I thought about with crossplay is that they would add in new modes. Like if we get like another huge thing, like gameplay aside, which has now become more important. But I thought that we were in a good spot in 22. Somewhat, I didn't enjoy it, but I can respect the fact that a lot of people did.
I think the thing though, before you go on to that, 22 had a good foundation to at least there were some things to change in it.
Yeah.
This does not at all.
No, it like I said, it feels like completely in flux. Like,
I don't see this 3-year process. I don't see it.
I don't either. And like I said, like I don't think anyone really does. And I think that maybe in 3 years we will. Sure. I like the fact that like at the foundation of what they are doing, from my understanding, is that they are trying to make the game play the same on every single mode. The problem is we have all of the negatives of that right now in Hockey Ultimate Team. One, it's supposed to play the same as offline, like franchise mode. That's why we get CPU penalties.
Yep.
Okay, that is why, because it's a uniform game. So if you were to sim a game, there'll be penalties in the game. CPUs take penalties. You can't just turn it off because that would not be the same across the board. You have cut plays and saucer passes and all that kind of stuff that works in sixes. That's in Hut, which I guess is kind of fresh. Tip shots are historically very good in sixes, and I love that. That is probably the only thing I thoroughly enjoy about 23 is the fact that those actually work, because they did not work in the past game. Like very rarely would you see a tip shot. But like one-timers aren't a thing, like the goaltenders acting with human animations. That's got to go. Like that just simply does not work. Like unless because I don't even know with the time allotted how they are going to address all of that. It feels like it's probably not an easy thing to do. So
I have an issue with, we want to make the gameplay the same, right? But one mode, let's say sixes, threes, and 1v1. One mode you have 6 humans on the ice. The other mode you have 12 humans on the ice, and the other one you have 2.
Mm-hmm.
So why are we trying to make a mode that has 2 humans and a bunch of AIs play the same as the one with all the humans that are controlling everything? You know, it's like it almost needs like a separate thing. I mean, it does need to be separate. I understand the whole like uniform. I get that thing, but this is the one game where it's really hard to do it in. I feel like because Madden, you don't have something like that. You know what I mean? Baseball, you don't have something like that. I understand they don't have club, but it's hard to do that in this game. I think because you know, like the goalies, they play like human goalies. Like go watch the Sixers game. They look like a human. My Markstrom looks like a human
it's a drop in goalie. That's your goalie every game.
It's because they only have like 4 moves. Like a human animation goalie only has like 5 total animations they can do.
Right.
But they're very prominent. Like, you know, they go in the spread eagle, you go in this pad stack, they go and hug the bar. Like it's very prominent. The reason, so the counterpoint to what I want to make about that, how you have like there's multiple ways to play the game. I think the reason, from my understanding, is that way there you are not splitting the developer base. So if they want to make a change, okay, all of the gameplay developers can be working on the same thing. Whereas NHL, what was happening, and Kessel, you can test this in the Game Changer program, there was developers that had no idea about anything that was going on in Hockey Ultimate Team, and vice versa for World of Shell. So, like, you had separate developers for gameplay, but there was only a few for each, and what you're left with is, like, not a lot being done to either one. Whereas now, if the entire workforce can be like, okay, we need to address puck pickups across the board, then, like, at least they can do it, and it's going to go into all games.
So, here's my issue with that,
I don't know if that's ever going to work.
Here's my issue with that, though, is that you have attribute disparity throughout all those, right? So, like, versus, I would say it's, like, mid-ground, right? Club, you have third, fourth liners, and then Hut, you have with like a lot of players with abilities, 92 plus, like a little bit less than halfway through the year. So whenever you're addressing those from a developer standpoint, how do you do that whenever you're going from 77 overall to 99, right?
That was the thing I think that Ben could not solve. I remember him talking about this being like over the last couple of years, right? Like he would be. We're talking about Ben Ross, by the way. Like he would talk about how, like, you know,
miss you, man.
What is the
I do.
What is the thing that, you know, Hut progression? You have to remember that not just like when complaining about the game, you have to think logically from a business standpoint as well. You cannot simply just think from a consumer standpoint because the game is made to make money. Like, that's just, you know, they don't just do it for fan service. Like, I wish, but, like, that's not the case. EA Sports will never do that. No game developer ever makes a game that is just for the fans, because then it would be free, right?
Yeah.
So, I think it's tough in that aspect to kind of do that stuff when, you know, in the situation that we've got now, man. But, like, I don't know, like.
I'll talk about my Stadium Series games now because I think I can kind of tie this in. So I play my Stadium Series, it's in Hut, right? And then I go and I play Tampa Bay. My wife ended up going to like a shower, so I was like, you know what? Like, I'm just play Tampa Bay. Like, let's see how I do, right? I haven't done a versus tournament in a while. It really wasn't that bad. I thought
it was one of the hardest, but yeah.
Yeah, I thought it would take a long time. I had a good run. I made it all the way to the finals in my bracket. I lost to Joseph. Good player, obviously. Jose X10, I think is his name. Finished like last year at the GWC, and just playing versus, like, yeah, goalies still do stupid animations, right? Stupid things still happen in the gameplay. But you know what? It felt nice to have the best players we're using Tampa. So the best players on the ice were the best players. Kucherov was like, you know, really, you know, dicing guys up. Stamkos had a good shot, the 1T. Hedman's just an unreal defenseman because of the stick him up. Vasilevsky's making crazy saves. Where it's like in Hut, I just feel like, and it's the abilities. The abilities have like ruined. I understand why.
This was an issue before, but like it ends up being the same.
It amplifies it, you know, because you have a guy with a choo-choo train above his head, and Nathan McKinnon that just can bulldoze his way down the boards, and you got a guy with a horse above his head, and he can knock you laying on the ice for 20 minutes, and you know it's just dumb. Like there's so many overly it's turning into arcadey, but it's with this gameplay and with the arcadiness, it's just a jumbled mess. And going into what I was saying about my Stadium Series games, I mean, well, actually, I'll let you guys like expound on that maybe before I tell you like how I did, because that's just, yeah, I don't know. It's just
the one positive I think of X Factors, like the abilities and whatnot, because I was not for them when they came in. I thought it was just kind of a lazy thing that they didn't really have much to add in. They're like, oh, Madden did it, so we can do it. But the one thing I'll say is that if you think back before there was abilities, because the root issue, what I was trying to say here about Ben not being able to solve for progression in Hockey Ultimate Team, you have to remember that, like I said, like so they have to go from base to 99 because people want to chase the new high number. That is why all Ultimate Teams do that, right? And like the issue that we're running into is that like that gameplay, your gameplay significantly changes when that. So, but the other issue is that when it was just attributes, every card's the exact same. There's no custom strides outside of the 4, and we don't even know if that does anything. There's no custom shots. Like it's just like there's no difference. So at least with abilities, you can make cards that you would normally overlook be like, okay, it's got unstoppable force. You can like hold on to the puck. It's an unstoppable force. Kuro Kaprizov, you would normally never use if you were a competitive player. With Unstoppable Force, maybe it can be usable. And I think like that's the one benefit of it. But like I said, the problem is the longer it goes, the meta gets established. People start realizing what the good ones are. They ignore the bad ones. And we're left with like every card has the same abilities, which is the exact same thing as whoever the biggest and fastest was of the last 5 years. Right?
And the only solution to that, Sleeves, is that thing we spent hours on in the summer.
We're so stupid and lame.
With custom builds, right? But like so you were saying, once players get to 99, everybody's the same, right? If there's a cap, if there's longer progression,
wasn't the same at 99.
Yeah, exactly. Like MLB, right? Like what if everybody wasn't the same as 99? Like I personally think instead of abilities being in the game, I think I mentioned this to you guys in the Discord the other day. One player maybe has like higher than 95 hand-eye, or like a few of them, right? Like Thomas Holmstrom, like Sidney Crosby. So like instead of putting Big Tipper on somebody, it's like, no, I got a guy that's really good at deflections.
Yeah. No, I feel like the current X Factors, it's like, all right, like let's reach into the hat. All right, oh, we got truculence. All right, let's throw it on. I'm like, and there's no like rhyme or reason to
they're forced into it, man.
They are now.
The gameplay is so bad.
They backed into it, yeah.
But it's like like last year, the AP change, right? And I know that was a big deal, but I'm talking about just the fact like of almost not even toning down, but like punishing you almost for using shutdown a little bit, because it's like this is so more expensive now to use it. And like at one point it was 4, right? So it went to 8. It's the same thing with truculence now. Like I feel like truculence and unstoppable force right now are so overpowered. They almost need to bump those.
They cost. Careful. They cost. You don't want to be suggesting.
Or just tone them down. Tone them down a little bit.
Yeah, like I honestly think we're at a point now because of the gameplay and the lack of stuff in HUT. Like that's a whole other issue, man. If we get another game and it is rivals, champs, squad battles, repeat.
Hey, dude, like, no, you got rivals blitz this year, so
that does not count. That is legitimately just playing the same mode for the same rewards and the exact same thing, but you're just shortening the time or making it 3-on-3. That doesn't really count. I'm talking about like an actual new thing added to the game. That'll be 5 years. 5 full price games where we have done the same thing in Hockey Ultimate Team. That's not a lack of innovation. That's that's inexcusable to expect a consumer to keep coming back.
Yeah.
And I can't do much. This is my career. I did not choose Tarkov when I 5 years or 7 years ago, but that's okay. I won't complain about that. Like I like my job.
You wouldn't have been as big, let's be honest.
No, I wouldn't. No. It gave me this game blessed me with things that I'll never fully understand. But the enjoyment of it, I want to be. It is only selfish. Like let's be honest here. If the game is better, selfishly, I will do better, right? Like and so I'm just praying. And I was used to be optimistic every year. I'd be like, okay, we've seen some things. It's kind of cool. I have no idea where this is going. And it'd be funny. Yeah, I'll be honest with you now. The funny clips where the goals get passed into my own net and stuff. That's like 50,000 on TikTok. So I just laugh it off, and I'm like, sure, that this is let's all just laugh together, because that's all you can do, right? Like it is what it is. It's sad. I want to be happy about this game.
Yeah.
Do you think you mentioned something about you'd go to work all day, and you come home, and you got to play NHL, or you do play NHL? Do you think there are people out there that really enjoy it?
Yeah, there is, for sure.
What do you think they're doing? Like, what are we missing?
They're not as serious as we are. I mean, it's as simple as that. I'll finally get to my Stadium Series. After I lost this weekend, I'm just like, what the heck, right? I'm like kind of like Kessel. I'm coming to this standstill of, like, I know I'm not going to win GWC, obviously, and that's fine. It's just this point of like, I've always just played the game one way. Competitively, that's all I've ever known. And it's tough to grasp, like, almost accepting, like, you're never going to probably win it again, anything again, but also, you're still, like, right there. Like, there's the really good kids that just never get off the game. They're taking gap years and all this stuff. And then you're right there underneath. But you're so frustrated because you can take a game or two off them. Like, so you said, hey, like, Aves, I was like, and you can beat them, but then you're just like, why can't, I don't know, it's just like that annoying spot I'm in, and, I come home from, like work, whatever.
This
I play
is like
my
what Tom
kids.
Brady's going through every year.
Yeah, they go to bed, and then it's like, okay, like, now I have time to play, and, but I only really play on the weekend because there's nothing to do during the week at all. So it's like, I
No, let's be honest. Padre and I never did that great in GWC, where it's like Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, it's more like Ryan Fitzpatrick. Yeah,
I was more of I did, I had more success like in a few of the Versus tournaments, honestly.
I played 2 years and realized there is no shot ever. I'm gonna go cast this thing.
No, and that's kind of where I'm at. Like, I want to be involved in it because I enjoy the community aspect. I enjoy, like, sharing something with you guys, having a bond, a podcast, talking to you guys about the game, having the same interests and that kind of thing. Like, I enjoy that the most now, I think, because it's like my hobby. Like, I play hockey and stuff, but this is it. Like, this is my main hobby, I guess. And because you guys are like, oh, I'm watching this TV show. Like, I don't even have time to do that. I don't even know how to figure that out without, like, playing this and whatever.
Dude, isn't that the tough thing though? Because it's like, I'm sure there's been personal things, like personal enjoyment things within the past year or two, especially since you've had kids, that you couldn't do because it's like, I want to do my 20 Hut Champs games, right? And at some point, and me and you, I'm saying I'm at that point. I'm not saying you're at that point. At some point, me and you, it's like, this isn't it anymore. So it's the podcast. Maybe we do some other things here.
I truthfully think that you're only doing this, or like recently, because like this is our like podcast. Because like if I were to be like, yo, let's take a couple weeks off, I think like you're burnt out on NHL.
Oh, I'm burnt. I'm burnt. Yeah. I seriously, these qualifiers, and I'll get to that. That's what really ticked me off of these qualifiers is, and I'm not blaming Kevin NHL. I don't know who to blame for this, but EA, whatever. You couldn't get in, and I'm thinking this is a good. I'm just gonna ballpark it at 200 players. 50 players for each console that could not play for 20 hours for a 4-day event. So for anybody out there that doesn't know, like when you first get in the queue of Hut Champs or even GWC, you can, if you're a really good player or even a really good player, you can pound out 10 games and get a bunch of lower level players and get 10 easy wins and just jumpstart everybody. Loco Krusty on Xbox, good player. Nothing against. I'm just using him as an example. He jumped out and went 24-1 on the first day because he didn't have this issue. And I'm sitting there, I can't even play, and then I have to start at, I don't even know, I think it was like Thursday night at like 7 or 8 o'clock. And I'm sitting there thinking, how am I going to get all this done by Sunday when I only play like at nighttime, and I work all day on Friday. It's like I have stuff to do, Sunday too. It's just like, so that really grinded my gears, and there was nothing done. There wasn't a extension of the time. There wasn't a reset of the leaderboards. There wasn't anything. There was nothing that was even said. Really, like EA finally addressed something, like I think on their Twitter, or Clappy, or I don't know who it was. It's just that kind of stuff. I didn't even
see that, to be honest.
Yeah, I was just really irritated by that because as a competitive player, I just feel like because then I start like matching up with like all the sweaty kids in my first 8 games.
Yeah, the gate open and all the.
Yeah, that's the gate's open, and everyone's like, "Let's," they're all running like.
Once you get to like that Friday night and Saturday night for this, and like all the bad players are like, done. I mean, I'm gonna say like 13 and 12, right? So from like bad to average. Once they're done, you're only like, I'm only matching like Geimer, and like people that have qualified for GWC in the past, and because I can't, dude, I can't play from like 12 to 3 in the morning like some of these people. Like have to wake up, dude. It's just not. It's not for us anymore.
That's choices. Yeah, I mean, like that's just life, right? Like that.
Oh, I get it. I'm not complaining about my life. I trust me. It's just more of the fact like it really grinded my gears because I just felt like that's a pretty big, you're 20 hours.
I feel like I'm trying to see like the tournament ops and getting to see it kind of in the background and things like that. I definitely have a bigger appreciation for the amount of planning that it has to do, but there's definitely like a lack of.
There's a disconnect. Think about this.
Yeah, there's at least communication, but it is not. For sure. It's not everyone in lockstep. Like so, I started doing stuff for the Raptors 2K team, and Johnny works for the MLSE. He does the Raptors. He does all the Raptors stuff the OWA, and I just see how in tandem and in lockstep the league, like the NBA, the 2K Sports and the 2K League, the esports league, is in like tandem. And when they all three work together and they have people dedicated to making like, you know, competitive events and just changes and stuff, it's unbelievable what you see. And on this side, we have not had that. This year, I would say, is the most that we've seen from the league. Like, so from, if we're talking about the World Championship, this is the most we've seen from the league. This is when you think about an initiative, you've got 32 individual tournaments. And then all of the Stadium Series and the All-Star one is two separate in-person events. I gotta say, man, 4 people went to the All-Star, are going to the All-Star game. 2 of them I had to chase down. Like, I understand that maybe a lot of people are not old enough, they haven't really, been traveled, they're not traveled before, things like that. But man, I was blown away at how difficult it was for these guys to just send people to Florida, all expenses paid. And like, that's an employee at the NHL having to deal with that. And, like I said, like, there's just a lot of things that go on. And then when you have like that on top of like, EA has an issue now. Now they've got to decide because like, it's not just like a tournament admin. Like, people at the NHL that run the GWC or the NHL, I gotta get that out of my head before the event. The NHL 23 World Championship, they can't just be like, okay, reset the bracket, reset the leaderboard. This was, EA's mistake. The thing isn't working out. We need to get this resolved. The problem is that there's legal. Like, there is a binding legal document for how the tournament is supposed to be run. And you can't just, because things come up, change anything. And I think that leads into. Well, I mean, like,
let's say in the rules you get 4 days. That's the thing.
It's true. Yes, I mean, yeah. I guess like in
but
that aspect,
it doesn't matter. I get it. I understand what you're saying.
It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate, but yeah, like I want to see, as this. Hopefully, the tournament continues to grow. I have, I'm worried about that, but the undertaking they did and the initiative that the NHL put in, I think the pandemic is always going to be such a major. I wish we could have seen this event without the pandemic. Because I think they were going to hit their stride and do this a couple years ago with the 32 teams. And hopefully we see 32 lands at some point. But we definitely need to see, like, just EA, the NHL,
right,
and someone from the player base. Whether that's me or someone else that competes at a high level that has a chance for. Because the NHL World Championship is for players that are in the 1%. It is not for everyone. I wish everyone tries, because you get guys like this Prestera kid who goes on and beats some of the best players in the world, right? You never know. You truly never know how good you are, right? But
right.
I think that as hopefully we see things continue to evolve. Yeah. But it all comes back to, like, man, the product we play. Like, it is going to be, I'm going to have to find a way to make an interesting goal call when someone sits behind the net and is licking the glass and they come around and I've got to go, they scores! And it's just like, that is the lamest way to score in NHL.
When I say disconnect, I'm not like harping on one person. It's more just like, I was talking to Kev about, like, when I got in my bracket, I didn't even know I was on my way to the Blues game. I get like 5 texts from Benny, uninstall, and he's like, you're playing in the thing. I'm like, what? And this is like 2 days before the thing. Well, Kevin has to contact the guys at EA, but they're not working because it's closed for the day, because it's this time of night, like whatever, and then he's got to wait till the next day. They got to figure out why this kid got banned. Oh, he got banned for coin selling, and then it goes back to, it's back and forth, and it's just like, there's no, and then you got you're just the broadcaster, right? So I'm going to use the example of, I'm going to use Duncan Deli because I know him best. He's talking about, trying to figure out travel plans, and he's telling me it's the text he's exchanging today with Kevin. I'm just like, dude, just shut up and go. Like, you don't need to worry about finding a cheesesteak in Florida. Like, that's like one. He's like, I'm just kidding about that. I'm like, I understand, but like, you're just going to the tournament. Yeah, I know.
I can't wait to meet him. I can't wait.
But it's just that kind of stuff. It's like, dude, just same thing with the kids at Dinko. Passport. Okay, I don't know what to say. Maybe you don't travel out. You don't have enough money to do it. I'm not knocking. I don't know whatever the reason is, right? But like the one kid, Bluen. I mean, who knows? Who knows how good
that
these
one
guys
I don't get. Yeah, he made a trip.
Ben, right? Like, we don't even know. They looked really good, but Bluen, it's like, dude, you're going to Cuba.
Why are you trying to qualify? That's like something that I can't really get, because they were just like, that one's so weird to me.
Like, you're going to Cuba. You don't go, hey Kessler, you want to go to Cuba next week? Oh, let's go to Cuba. Like, no, you planned it like a month ago.
I don't
2 months ago, 3 months ago, whatever. It's just that kind of stuff. There's a lot of just immaturity too in this event. Like, I know the age is 16 to play, but sometimes I feel like these like 20-something-year-olds. It's like, what are we doing here, guys?
Yeah,
like,
man.
Kevin's babysitting and he's working his job. And then you're getting involved and you're like, hold on, I'm doing videos, I'm doing this. And oh, I got to deal with, contacting Duncan Deli about, like what size shirt he wants to wear. It's like, good Lord, like, because he can't answer his phone. I'm just making
Yeah,
up something.
it's
It's
wild.
unreal.
Like,
I mean,
it's,
I
it's
feel
very
bad for the dudes.
eye-opening.
It's just got to be. I hope for Kevin's sake and all the dudes at the NHL and even the guys at EA. I hope there's a more unison collective and whatever
Dude,
like
a
that is.
Discord call. I feel like everyone's operating on email when Discord would just save them thousands of hours.
Yeah,
like
we
that's
do
what
it
it
every
feels like.
day.
You know what I mean? Like that's what it feels like. It's like stop using email and just hop in a Discord call or a Discord like chat. Like I feel like it'd be instant. I don't know, but let's answer some questions real quick.
I have a question for you two first.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is what I was thinking about. We've seen this a lot whenever a game comes out and it's bad, it's awful, whatever, right? In my personal opinion, NHL 23 is bad and broken enough that at some point, Rammer or one of the execs has to come out, issue a statement, and saying like, "Hey, we messed up.
Like
Here's
what they
why."
did with Madden?
What they did with Madden. This is what we're doing to address it. In my opinion, it's that bad, and that has to be done. Do you guys agree with that?
Yeah. Like I try not to. I don't like to blow to overstate things. Like when people complain that this is the worst.
Yeah. That's why I said in my opinion.
Year.
In my opinion.
Yeah, the state of gameplay and the lack of fixes for it. It is like I said, man. We are just beta testing 24.
Okay,
and had to pay full price.
Padre, do you agree?
No, I agree. I mean, I love Rammer. I met him in person. He's a nice guy. I haven't even seen him in years. I was like, not saying he's not doing it. I haven't even seen him because he used to be all over the place.
Yeah, I just use his name because he's the guy.
Yeah, I think Will is the new guy. There was a brand new executive.
Yeah,
producer.
I mean, Rammer got a ton of heat for years too. I mean, the fact that his name is people are like, you got rammed. Like, I mean, they put his name in like a phrase. But yeah, I agree. I mean, something needs to be said.
Okay, so May's got the first question here.
Of course.
I know, right? Dude, the grind of all grinds. So why do you
studied?
Dude, I am adjusting this because he speaks amazing English, but sometimes the words he said club instead of stick. So
okay.
So why do the developers want the stick to go where the puck was when you hit R1? I'm personally highly against that. I would like it to be more manually aimed, or just manually aimed in general for stick checking. Increase the skill gap, nerf pokes in the sense that it's not auto tracking. But on the flip side, they can make pokes stronger and make it so the skater doesn't pick up the puck right away. Maybe a small delay or something. Might make no contest more useful. Would love to hear your guys' takes.
Eki has been just a champion for this for the last 3 years. For anyone that doesn't know, when you hit R1, it will go to, if you have a 99 stick checking stat. Stick checking stat is one of the more important stats in the game. When you hit R1, if you have 99 stick checking, it will go to, when you hit R1, at the fastest and most accurate rate to where the puck is. Regardless if you're aiming. So if you're not even aiming the seals, and you tap R1, which is more often than not what you should do, because of how the game is played, that's what you do. You hit R1 and it immediately goes right to the puck. What Maze is saying is that you need to aim it. And that would definitely increase a skill gap. I think.
Yeah, I wonder how difficult that would make it though. If it was,
might be
I don't think it could be completely manual because when you think about it, the stick model is extremely small, right? And then if you had to manually aim that exactly where the puck is, it'd be tough unless there were better stick physics in the game because maybe you got a guy stick or something. So I think of it like assisted aim instead of full on auto.
Toned down quite a bit, yeah.
Yeah.
They hammered stick checks this year though, so.
Yeah, Padre, any thoughts?
I don't know. The whole thing with the pokes, that was the one thing when we bring up Ben Ross, the people knocked, I feel his games the most were that kind of stuff. The stick stuff, and that was what I was talking about this year. I'm man, I would go back for that any day of the week if that was the main problem. Just stick interceptions and pokes and all whatever those issues. That was, I always feel the main thing that everyone talked about last year was pickups and stick it's never gonna be perfect, especially with a frostbite. And it's I would take that as a problem right now over all the crap that's going on right now any day of the week. That's just me. I don't know. It's frustrating.
Alex Gibson had a good input thing. So I'll say for events, I think the way the future is small game blocks. Take the game day tilt versions, give them a 5 or 10 game block, and let people call their shot. I actually do like this one, and I wonder because originally I think that was last year we first got the game day tilts. And then this year is the first one we're getting those weekend and weekday warriors.
Yeah, where you get multiple games.
I wouldn't be surprised if at some point we get like a week or like a month or something.
10
Maybe that's
games.
why Hawks like trying these out. Like maybe you take 2 players from 2 different teams that have 10 games in the month of like March, right? Or however many games, 12. Something that's equal for both, and you have to decide between the two. And it's like, it's like a mini Evo event. I think that's a good idea.
The issue with this is that the cost to make them, because of how EA works, like their economy system in the background to determine values, it makes it where it's like that a card that would start at 75 for 10 games, right, would cost like $300K.
It might, but I mean,
that would be kind of cool.
It's something different, right?
I agree.
Like, because like people took that gamble on Tavares, right?
Yeah,
and he's one that paid off.
He's probably the only
He's the only one, and once he did, I think EA upped the price, right?
Dude, Tuki just went live and it said fixing EA's mistakes, volume 6558. Sorry, that was funny. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying. I think that's the reason why like the costs have gone up a bit because of the Tavares thing.
Probably, yeah. Tavares probably put a wrench in their plans because they don't want to give out like a 95, right? Like they don't want that to happen. I sure like every once in a while they probably want it to happen, but
yeah.
All right, what's the next one?
Last one, because this other one was answered in the comments. Any place to watch these matches? I think this guy's referring to GWC. It's people's personal streams at this point until there's an official event that takes place, and I think that's tough sometimes. So it's like it's paying attention to Twitch when these are going on, and just looking at the directory. If there is a tournament that's not ran by the NHL going on, Sleeves is most likely streaming it on a Saturday or Sunday.
Yeah, like a watch party. That's what we do. We kind of like a red zone of it where we just hop around. I should turn my VODs on. I got a lot of questions. The reason why I don't have VODs on, by the way, is because I play copyrighted music, as well as we live in a world where you can clip anything and make it out of context, and that scares the hell out of me. So I really just don't have clips on my channel for that reason. I record everything myself so that I can kind of control like my own content.
That's soft, man. I got my VODs on.
It sucks. I mean, I love it. You shoot your shot, man, but you also have a gigantic career to fall back on if if streaming doesn't take off, right? Like this is
no, for sure. I would have them off if this is my full-time job.
Like it sucks because like that's just the world we live in, right? But I probably, and not to mention it's very like the way I do it, it's like it doesn't look great, but like it does the job. I have like 7 streams up. It's not like a nice overlay, and I'm kind of a perfectionist. So like if I were to put a video up of it, I would personally not like that, but I feel like enough people have said I would love to go back and watch.
You need the green screen, and you need the actual red zone like desk or something.
That would be great. 7 hours of commercial free chill.
That'd be great.
That's what I hate too about the tournaments is. This is another tangent, but it's like the HUT, making it HUT, and I understand why with the EA aspect, like, okay, whatever. I just still don't think it affects the sales a ton, but if it's Versus, this is why I don't think it Versus matters, because no one watches this part anyways, right? So, you have kids that don't stream, and kids, when they do stream, they don't have their cams on, they don't have, like, it's just a mess anyway.
This is more of an EA thing than I know the NHL, after the first GWC, and the player base hated watching Pittsburgh versus Pittsburgh. That's a brutal look. That's a brutal look. We're trying to get a league-wide initiative, but like I know that's why. But like, it's not a perfect thing. But yeah,
I have the extreme take where it should be Versus. You should use the teams, and then like if you qualify with the Ducks, you have to use them in the tournament through Versus.
It should just be what they have in FIFA, where every card is 85 overall.
It could be that, but even if it's not, I know it's not fair at all. For the consumer, it's 100% better because like if that's the case for like GWC, right? I think you'd have a lot of good players trying to win the better teams, but if not, and you have like Gren wins Dallas, he's at a disadvantage, but it's really not that much. If Regs wins the Islanders, disadvantage, not that much. So that's what I want to see.
Yeah, I mean that would be kind of interesting to see someone like random, because no one would try and apply for the Yotes. But
yeah, so like I mean,
get in like Madden, an actual fan would.
Yeah, like that TV show Madden Nation used to do that, right? And that's like mid 2000s. It wasn't fair, like somebody had the Vikings when they had like Sage Rosenthals or whatever was his name as the quarterback, like that's not fair, but I think the guy ended up winning. So
that's wild.
It happens.
No, yeah. A lot of good ideas there. Not bad, fellas. If I do say so myself. We are okay, let us know. Like, are we just so annoying and negative? Because I feel like we are, but we use this as much as you guys use this as therapy. This is literally us just downloading our, because this game is just sucking the life out of us a little bit. We play it way too much, and we're obsessed. We're all obsessed.
Listen, I'm gonna play it next year. I love hockey. I love the NHL.
That's the thing, dude. I cannot
I love the NHL. I like hanging out with you guys. I like talking to you guys. I'm gonna play it. It's just I'm hoping for the better and it sounds corny, for the next people that play it, just because I got to experience what I thought was good back in the day. So
my kid's gonna be a prodigy.
Yeah, my kid's gonna be nasty. But
dude, how about that?
I can't wait for me and your.
Oh yeah, we gotta talk about him. Let's talk about him next episode because we gotta see what
Sisu. That's like a whole that's a whole other segment.
Well, when's Tampa? Because when is Tampa?
Is February. I just got my flight itinerary. It's February 10th.
Okay, because I kind of want to see him first against the big dogs, and then we'll see.
Dude, I can't wait to see, for anyone again that doesn't follow NHL esports. Real quick, some 16-year-old prodigy out of Finland went through and crushed everyone, including Eki. And over the course of a weekend in 2 separate tournaments, this kid won Tampa. Will be playing in Tampa Bay for the Chell Challenge, and Own the Blue, who has been banned, wasn't old enough to qualify. Like, everyone has been waiting to see this kid at the highest level, and now we finally get to do it because he's like 17 and he qualified, and he's supposed to be like the next Gren. Like, he has been like that. I still remember when he was 15 and he knocked out Saphir in the first round. Like, I cannot wait, and these two are gonna have to play each other.
And his dad was yelling, and his dad was tweeting at you.
Oh man, that was wild. But that one's gonna be fun. Let's spend a couple minutes on them next year or next episode. So
esports stories.
Esports stories. Yeah, that one guy in the chat said like the thing
I like that.
Most, like he likes hearing all the land stories.
I got so many stories I could give you. Me and Kesso go back. Like, it's so good.
I love to hear that one from the Virgin series, dude.
Oh man.
Jeez.
Yeah. All right, boys. Well, another banger episode, I hope. And make sure you leave some questions down below in the YouTube video, and we'll see you guys next week. Have a good one.